Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Marianne Hogan. It's a couple days before the 2024 UTMB. Marianne, we're back at the start line of UTMB. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Well, you're pretty much the local. You moved here, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, and since January, I spend most of my time out here, but
Okay.
I guess I had a good journey in Colorado as well, but I'm happy to be back in these mountains.
You have had, speaking of journeys, you've had a bit of a journey in the last 2 years since you were last here at this race where you podiumed. You converted to a mobile life. You had quite an injury, and now since then you've had a very consistent and strong build back. That's my view of it from the outside looking in. What has these 2 years looked like? What have they looked like for you?
Yeah, it's a pretty good summary, I would say. I had to work a lot on my patience. UTMB 2022 got a lot out of me. I got a big injury, and it was really hard for me to recover from that injury. Actually, the injury led to another injury, and that kind of almost gave me a blank 2023. I was able to squeeze in one race in 2023, but other than that, I've been just building back up and trying to make one good decision after the other. And so far, I'm pretty happy with the decisions that I've made, and I feel pretty good to be here, and just to be able to be on the start line is a big win for me.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside looking in, it's looked like the most patient, consistent rebuild. Like you said, you were able to squeeze a race in 2023. You did Ultra Trail Cape Town the final month of 2023.
Yeah.
And then I think you've had 2 ultras,
Yeah.
2 or 3 ultras this year.
Yeah, 2, I believe.
2.
Yeah, 2.
Did I run it? You were at Transvolcania, and then I think you did a race in Switzerland.
Yeah, Swiss Canyon Trail.
Oh yeah. And both of those seem to be in that whole realm of consistent rebuild, coming back and being ready for 100 mountain miles again.
Yeah, I think UTMB last time made me realize how big of an ask it was for my body. Okay. And so I wanted to respect its limits and kind of show up healthier. Last year in 2022, I did Western States and UTMB in the same year, and
Yeah.
I feel like that most likely had a big effect on the reason why I had a big injury at Champais. And so I'm hoping that being more patient and playing the long game will come out beneficial for this time around.
Well, you have already kind of answered my next question. Was that your work towards this race has just seemed longer, a thing of consistency, a thing of patience, rather than in 2022 it was okay, you sort of hit it big with Western States, and it was I'm gonna try to run that train as far as it'll go. And you're doing it completely different this time.
Yeah, I'm doing it different just because, I was very happy with my 2022 year, but I realized that, it has a huge negative impact. 2023 for me was I could barely race, I could barely run, and it's not so much the racing that bothers me, it's more the running.
Yeah.
I just love running, and that's really when I'm happiest, and I can feel it just as a way that I feel.
Yeah.
And so this time around I was well, I want to run UTMB again because I want to give it justice. I want to race till the end, and the best way for me to do that is show up at the start line as healthy as possible. And I feel like a longer build, a smarter build was the best way to go for me. Everyone can do differently, but
on paper and social media, your summer of 2024 has looked really fun. You were over here, you raced in Switzerland, and then you came to America, and you paced Camille Bruyas at Hard Rock, and you trained with her also in the San Juans, and then I think you've also been here training. Walk us through, the fun part, but also the work part of that.
Yeah, well, we discussed it off camera before we started, but San Juan was, it's a whole different types of mountain, and most precisely because of the altitude. The elevation is just really high, and it's just hard on the body, and everybody reacts differently. But in July, it was a lot of grinding for me. We laughed because during Soft Rock with Camille, I was struggling so much, and it was hard to say if I was out of shape or just reacting to the altitude or tired from my Swiss Canyon, but it paid off, because then when I showed up to here in Europe, I felt really great, and it's just nice to see, and I think it's representative too of sometimes during the year you have downs and you have highs, and I think it was the right time for me to have it. And in preparation for Camille, it was great. Like, it was a great experience, and I would definitely do it again.
Would you put your name in the lottery for Hard Rock is more the question.
Yeah, I would put my name, but I think I have to respect the limits of my body, and I think, like, I have to be honest with myself that I'm fragile. I broke my leg, I had 2 surgeries, and I'm not as resistant as I once was, and that's just my reality. And I feel like UTMB is pushing the limit, and Hard Rock would be like pushing the limit even more. So I feel like in a couple years, if my body is able to sustain 100 miles, maybe I'll put my name in the Hard Rock. But I think I need to develop more maturity. My body needs to develop more before I can show up at Hard Rock. But it is certainly on the top of the list of the races that I want to do.
Well, that is definitely some psychological maturity there. Now we just wait for the bones and the muscles and the soft tissues to join in.
Exactly.
So let's talk about this race for a minute. In 2022, what's the right way to put it? Like, it felt like you were like racing with your heart, racing with your guts that day. And it certainly turned into like, I mean, you had to race with your guts in the last bit, coming home with an injury. What is it like, where are you at mentally? What are you planning to, like, what are you thinking about mentally for race day?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because for the first time this week, I was looking at my pacing of 2022, and I was like, whoa, I actually ran pretty fast the first part.
You took it out. Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily a strategy. I always really run on feeling, and that's just the way that I run. I can't really do differently. You can't really have me run fast when I'm feeling down, and you can't have me run slow when I'm feeling up. So I feel like I just take it to my advantage, and whenever I feel good, I go with it. And I'm hoping that I'm going to feel good on Friday, and we'll see how far that brings me. But of course, I want to respect the distance, the mountains, the elevation, and I'm going to have to bring the brain in for a little while there before I start racing fully with my heart. But I'm excited to go out and see what the day brings and give it a solid effort, hopefully all the way to the end.
Yeah, and have you taken the time to sort of like visualize what a different race ending looks like this time? Like one that, where you like, you know that you're kind of like hurting yourself to get to the finish line. Are you thinking about a different potential reality? Yeah,
it's interesting because it's like some ways I was in excruciating pain in 2022 just because my tear was horrible. But at the same time, it's like a different type of pain as to racing till the end.
Yeah.
And I just feel like racing those 3 last more steep uphills will definitely be a different type of effort. And mentally I'm trying to get there because I haven't lived there. I know what it means to race all the way to Champais, but I have no idea what it means to race after that.
The last 30K, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's even 40, I think it was 45,
sorry.
No good, no, all good, but to me it's a big difference. So I just want to be prepared mentally to show up at that distance and give it a best effort. You know, I'm excited I'm hoping that my body will be able to run downhills this time around because walking from the top of Trian all the way to Valorcine was not the way that I wanted to run the race or that I had visualized it, but we'll see what the day brings.
Best of luck to you in your second UTMB, and the most luck for the last 40
Thank you. I appreciate it.